Hey, Patrick here. I'm going to go through and review a game that I played against a new a couple days ago. So I'm playing my Death Dealer Azalea list, and I feel pretty good into this matchup right now. I think I played fairly tight against them. Um, so I'd like to go through and see if there's some spots where I could have taken better lines, or if there's some mistakes that I made that I didn't catch during the game. So the equipment that I brought in is just the standard loadout. There's nothing really notable here. I think all this equipment is just really strong baseline. So yeah, Bullseye Bracers and Skullbone Cross Wrap, good cards. Same with Snaps and Tunic, all just good cards here. Bringing in 10 cards into my deck though. So I'm bringing in 2 Battering Bolt, I only have 2 on the side, and this is just good against Mystic heroes in general. Sometimes you can catch them out on a hand that doesn't block well, or they're trying to have a large hand and you're threatening to rip out, multiple transcend cards, or against new they'll have like attack reaction cards. So this can just be really valuable. Then I'm also bringing in 2 Infecting Shot. This is just like card number like 9, 10 that I'm bringing in. It's just a good role player card. The Bloodrot they can pay for if they want. If they have an extra chi or a transcend card left at end of turn, they can pay for that because they won't be able to block the Infecting Shot itself. But other than that, it's just a 1 for 7 in this matchup. This is also a Red in the Ledger matchup. The new probably isn't going to be swinging dagger too often, but Red in the Ledger still just removes that option from them, especially if it's dominated and I can just make them IP themselves. It's just a really strong card. Or even things like Levels of Enlightenment or Codex, like it just turns off a lot of their really good cards if this connects. So I think this is a premium card in this matchup. Also bringing in 3 Remorseless. This is just a fine card in this matchup. I don't expect to get too much value off of it. Probably even less value than something like Infecting Shot. But I do value the top line of text here because I don't know how defensive news are going to be. And a really well-timed defense react stored in Arsenal can just completely shift the tide of the game. It can just completely swing it back in their favor. So I do value the top text here. If I can load up some nice on hits or Remorseless and send it in, it can be really awkward for them. Other than that, the rest of the list is the main 50. So let's send it and see what happens. We're in game now, and my opponent won the die roll and chose for me to go first. I'm fine with this as usual. I can usually do something on the first turn that has a good carryover impact. And here I managed to find a Red in the Ledger on my first draw. And then off of the Death Dealer load, I draw into a knock. I think this is pretty good because I'm just going to be able to find another Red in the Ledger and then flip into it to give it Dominate. And then I think I should be using only a single pump on this and coming in for 8. There's no way that he's going to be able to cover that up. So I think the difference between 8 and 11 doesn't really matter. But coming in for 8 and then saving the lace with Frailty would be, I think, better because I'd have an arsenal going into my second turn. And as well, the Frailty doesn't do anything on this turn because he's only going to have a single action point, most likely. But I do decide to go with 11. And I guess that's fine enough. It's just a little bit extra damage, but I would have preferred to have had an arsenal. I really am valuing having an arsenal that's face down to be able to sort. But I do need to speak to say that the block with the Battle Worn equipment really tells that he's going to play Bonds of Agony. Yeah, so there's nothing I could have done about it different on my turn because he puts his blocks after I've made all my decisions essentially. But here, coming with the bonds, he's representing that he's going to activate one or both of his equipment. And I no block because I have a sort of mentality of I don't want to play their reaction game. I don't want to try to play their blocking game. But I do only have one way to get an arrow into Arsenal, and it's going to be gone no matter what. He should definitely take that if this connects. And there's no way that I'm going to be able to realistically block this out. Like he could have had a nick. That's the thing. He could have a nick or a venomous bite or a hiss. So I should have blocked with 1 or 2 cards here, honestly, and then just expected not to have a turn. I think blocking with 2 cards was correct, but instead I don't block with anything. And then he's just going to rip the knock from my hand, as well as the one remaining in my deck. Yeah, there we go. And then on my turn, I'm just forced to pass, essentially. I think I do end up pitching into the Death Deal here to get rid of the Rain Razors, because I do need to dig a little bit deeper to try and find an arrow, so I need to pitch at least one of these cards, and I'd say that Rain Razors is probably one of the weaker ones here. It's a little more awkward to line up. So they come in with Spider's Bite. I don't care. I'm not in the business of blocking. Yep, they come in with a Beckoning. Still, don't care. My power is being able to disrupt them offensively, not trying to block out and get value there. But they come with CNC. I don't care. Don't block it. I can play my turn without it. So getting the opt off the glide path and seeing a Codex, I don't have anything good in Grave, so I really should just be bottoming this and trying to find a better arsenal target or another pump. But I do think with this for a while, and I think I end up making the improper decision. Because if I keep this, there's no nice way for me to play it out. I'd basically just be getting back the Endless Arrow. If it ends up in Grave. That's if it doesn't hit, which there's a chance that he blocks this out and then it goes to Grave and then I can get it back. But if he doesn't block it out, it's already in hand. So then I'm just going to have an awkward hand with the Codex. And also note that he wanted to undo this turn after I played the Codex. It didn't matter on the game state because we both already had an arsenal, but there's like a 2-minute gap here where we had to figure out undoing, and then he thought for about a minute, and then nothing changed. But I do play with the Codex, and I think this is a sloppy play. I see kind of why I'm doing it, and that's because I'm making a really difficult decision for him no matter what. Like, he's just going to have a bad outcome no matter what. But I think I already had that available to me. I think I already had, like, the breakpoint of 13 on Endless Arrow, and then possibly finding another pump to bring up to 16 is just really good. Here I'm threatening like snaps, reload with bracers, but I think that's a really bad play. And he just lets us hit. So I end up with 2 cards in hand. The Codex is just wasted, I think. Like, I didn't need the Ponder. I didn't need the Frailty. So what did I play it for? It was just a dead card. Yeah, I don't like that. And then passing over to him, he's going to have a 4-card hand. Okay, yeah, I draw off the Ponder to a glide path. I think I just put the Errand Arsenal. Yeah, that's fine. So passing over to him, he's on his Tunic turn. So that's another incentive for him not to have blocked. Because he's going to have a powerful turn. But it does also give me a little bit of a read that maybe he has cards that don't block, especially now that he's played out only a Censor and he's kept 2 cards in hand. This is just a tell that he's going to have a double Transcend hand. Or he has 1 in hand, 1 in arsenal, something like that. So I need to play around it, like keeping that in mind. I need to keep in mind that he's going to mask me here, and then probably just pitch the second Chi to his Bloodrot. He could have a path well traveled to give this go again, and then follow it up with, like, I don't know, a CNC from Arsenal. That could be really bad, or a Codex from Arsenal. That could be something. But instead, yeah, it's just the line I expected. And I didn't block because I don't care if Censor hit. I have so many ways to play around it. Like, I have 3 different arrows available to me this turn, and he's never going to read the glide path. So I'm fine with that. And here, him activating Mask, I think I should be banishing. It's one of the arrows here, and I can see argument for both. If I banish the red in the ledger, then I need to play on my Rain Razors, so I'd probably have to use my boots here. But if I banish the Bolt and Shot, good, then in this case, what do I get to do? Oh, well, we need to see what he names. I think he should name Endless Arrow. It's a known card, right? He knows that I got that back in hand from it hitting last turn. So I think he should just name Endless Arrow. There's no just blindly naming something else. Okay, he names Premed. That's fine. There's been no Premeds played this game, but I think Endless Arrow is just a known card. And there's a chance that I made a mistake and had to play it. So I think he chose the wrong name there. And on my side, what am I thinking to do here? Definitely opt first. I think it's the correct place to opt here. Bolt and Shot, I feel like that should go to the bottom. I don't really see why I would want that here. I already banished one, so I don't know why I'd want another one. I mean, maybe... No, I don't see any reason to have this. I hope I don't put that on top. Maybe I'm thinking just have it as an arsenal. Maybe that's why I'm considering putting it on top. Okay, I'm going to tell him I'm thinking. Here, I really want to end the chain with that red in the ledger, though. Because I'm probably sending 2 arrows here. Yeah, how am I going to do this? Glide path, and then just shoot the endless arrow. I think that sounds pretty good. And then use my snaps here. I think I like that play. Because this is going to come in for 7. This kind of guarantees that I have an arsenal for turn. Yeah, I think I like this. Because then I use snaps, load in the red in the ledger, draw the second glide path, and then I get to opt to control my turn, my draw for the next turn. I think I like that. This is also splitting up the turns where I'm using my bullseye and my snapdragons. And I think that's fine in this game because I've seen 2 Rain Razors so far, and they're at the bottom of my deck. So I'm not going to have a turn where I go like endless with Razor, and then I get like the value off of having the Rain Razors pump both, right? Okay, this is a really good card. Leave that on top. Yep. And then just shoot Rend the Ledger for 8 here. And he's pretty much forced to block this, or... Okay. Does he have a second react? Nope. Okay, so either they have more Transcend cards stuck in hand, or they have a big reaction turn. Interesting. I don't know why they're pitching the just to Nick here and what they have in Arsenal. Like, do they have 2 reds in hand? I don't know why they didn't just block with more cards. This is really weird. Yeah, with the Remorseless. Good. Okay. Yeah, it's another Transcend card. I don't care. My hand was full of arrows. I wanted to block with something, and I'm fine to just play out my Endless Arrow if it comes down to it. But here, looking at this, I think I have the option of... I think I'm either getting rid of Seek and Destroy or Amplifying Arrow. And I say that because I'm going to get to look at 2 cards off the top with my Skullbone and then Azalea Blind Flip if needed. So I think trying to shoot the Infecting Shot for at least 8 here would be a nice play. Awesome. There's a pump on top, so leave that there, flip into it, and then load the Infecting Shot, and then hopefully either get another pump or an arsenal. I'm going to a Tunic turn, so I'm okay if I just get another pump. It's really good here. Awesome. This is a great turn. I think I did a really good job playing into an opening for positive variance. There's a few different ways I could have played that turn, like playing out the Endless Arrow in some way. I probably would have banished the the Amplifying Arrow in that case, but I like this turn because it just kind of paid off. I took a little more risky line in just seeing what was on the top of my deck, but it definitely paid off. Getting the Ponder is massive. All right, they're coming in with this Prognosis, so they're threatening to take a card from hand, and I could give a piece of equipment here, but if they have another Nick, then I just kind of get blown out. Yeah. And I'm also probably going to want to use my Skullbone. Well, I definitely want to use my Skullbone because I have the Spire Sniping. So I think it's really heads up for me not to be blocking with the Skullbone here to try and prevent the on-hit. And they're kind of signaling they're going to, yeah, okay. They were under Seek and Destroy, so they probably wanted to play out their arsenal. Okay, this is fine by me. Banishing the Bloodrot Codex to the masks. I did that because I want to. I'm likely going to hit a red off the top. I don't care about the Bloodrot Codex, and I want to force them into taking the arrow from my hand because I want both those pumps. I don't want to give them choice here. I want to make it seem really obvious of what they had to do. And here, since the Spire Sniping trigger comes up as part of the cost, it always happens before the Skullbone. So the way that I can do this is order them so that the top card gets put to the bottom by the opt. And I like the way that I did that because I want to, or I have to draw into an arrow next turn. If I don't draw an arrow, then I'm just going to lose this game. So really, really forward thinking in putting the pre-med on top and then sinking it. That just gives me another chance to find an arrow. And I've been keeping track of how many arrows versus pumps I've had. I'm assuming it's just 50-50. But there's a nice, just give myself an extra buffer to whiff on drawing an arrow. Just being able to draw an extra card is massive here. I'll say it again, the Tunic, I'm hoping that I can draw at 0 cost so that the Tunic is just worth 1 card. But on his side, I'm presenting lethal, so he has to do something. I think this should be a mask block here. The mask has done its job. He's gotten, it's like, what, 3 activations out of it? So I think it's just send it now and also give me another card. If he just blocks with the mask, then he gets the Bloodrot and he needs to pay for it, or else he just is dead, right? He'd go down to 2. And here, okay, he has D-React. Awesome, yeah. So, good block out by him. This gives him, or leaves him with enough of a life buffer to be able to still take a little bit of a hit next turn, or block out partially and take a little bit of a hit. And hopefully this has to be a big turn for them. This has to be a really swingy turn. Or otherwise, I think I just no block and just send it back. Yep, I'm not blocking these daggers. There's an argument to be made for blocking the Mistblade here. Because the cards that I need to play around are a CNC follow-up, which wouldn't matter. But the one I should be more concerned about is a Codex turn here. Because he has a CNC and a Levels Engrave. So if I block with a Skullbone, then the levels get 1 less mode effectively. All right. So I'm thinking about what I should bring in. I see they bring in the levels. So them bringing in the levels makes me think that I might be able to get away with having a Bolt and Shot. Because if I can go too wide, there's just no way that they can cover up all those breakpoints. So I don't mind this. And here, I like discarding either the Seek and Destroy or the Lace with Frailty. The Seek and Destroy, the effect's probably just not going to be relevant this game because we're getting to a point where it's single digits and it's just going to be presenting a lethal instead of them trying to keep a card. And here, yeah, coming in for 6, I don't block that. And then the card they drew is a CNC. I think they had some way to see the top card. I thought they... Oh yeah, they played a Fate for Scene there. On the last turn, they reacted with it. And then they opted to the top. But either way, I'm not blocking that. I'm going down to 1. They're going to take the hit here. They get their card. That's fine. I'm just going to use bracers to load in the Rend the Ledger, and then use my Tunic to play out the Rend the Ledger for 11 here. I prefer to do Tunic. I prefer to use my bracers here instead of using the Death Dealer with the Tunic resource, because the card that I could draw into is it could just be worse, right? And I think presenting 11 instead of 9 is a big deal, because presenting 11 instead of 10, because presenting 10, they can just put 3 cards plus a Tunic, then they have a 2-card hand. But if I present 11, then they're forced to give me all 4 cards, or probably give me all 4 cards here, right? Because I'm presenting the Bloodrot as well. So that's what I'm thinking about. And it's also just lines up very cleanly. It might be the last chance for me to use my Bullseye Bracer. And here, okay, they just give me 4 cards anyways. They don't gain the life because they're higher life. I'm still at 1. And then I draw into this. This should be lethal. I think there's a million ways for me to find lethal from this hand. But I'm definitely just loading in Bolt and Shot here, I think. I'm always pitching the Amp Arrow, right? I'm never playing that card here. I like the Bolt and Shot because if I find 2 pumps, then I just double pump it and then hope to reload to shoot the Endless Arrow on it. And here, actually, since I got the Take Aim, I'm happy to blind flip Azalea, because even if I hit an arrow, I can still pump it up. If I hit another pump, then I'm fine to just load in my Endless Arrow with the Take Aim. But I get a Bolt and Shot, so this should just be lethal. It's going to be 12 Dominate. I play Take Aim, pitch the Endless Arrow for the Bolt and Shot, or the Battering Bolt, sorry, not Bolt and Shot. And then coming for 12 Dominate. This should just be GG. And yeah, that's it. GG. Here we are in the post game. And I'm happy with the way that I played that game. I made a few misplays in watching it back, so it's really good that I did go and do a review of this game, I think. When I played the game, I remember feeling pretty happy about how I played. And looking back, I'm still happy enough with how I played. There were 4 spots, I think, where I made these like small, minor misplays. Maybe one of them was bigger than the other. But to go over them, there was turn 0. So in going first, I should have kept 1 card in Arsenal. I should have kept the Lace with Frailty. And the reason there is, I think I described a little bit, but coming in for 8 with Dominate is good enough. And going into my first full turn with an Arsenal face down can just be like a make or break, essentially. And then also the Frailty doesn't matter when I already have an Inertia and the Rend the Ledger effect coming through. Like, that was already such a strong turn. I should just carry that momentum instead. But the second place that I misplayed would be in their first time they swung in, when they came in with Bonds and they had both of their Battle Warrant already spent, which I think might have been a misplay on their side, honestly. But they're coming with the Bonds for 1, and I should have put 2 cards in front of that. I think I should put the Knock and then probably the Release of the Tension. I think it was Release of the Tension, Razor, and Glide. I think I should have put in... Actually, no, I should have put the Glide and the Knock, because I want them to take either the Rain Razors or the Release out of my deck over a Glide, and I already played out 1 Knock, and I just want to get some value off that turn. That also forces them to have another pump, besides just their gloves. And the way that I played that out, instead, I just took 5 and didn't have a turn anyways. And they took the knock out of my hand, so I couldn't play it. Or I couldn't play an arrow. So I wasn't going to have a turn no matter what. So I should have just blocked out 5. And then next was my Codex turn. I think that was a really bad play. I think I should have just bottomed the Codex, and I should have either bottomed the Codex and then arsenaled it, or I should have bottomed the Codex and then just tried to find a better card off the top. The way that I played it out, it ended up just being a wasted card, right? The Frailty didn't do anything, and the Ponder didn't get me an extra card because I already had the Endless Arrow coming in. So that was really, really bad. And then there's also the block on the Mistblade that I did not do with my Skullbone. I think I should just put Skullbone in front of that. I knew that he knew what the top card of his deck was. I should have played around the fact that he could Codex there, because I'd only seen one of them so far. He blocked with 1. And yeah, because he put the top card on his deck from the Fate. So I should have respected the fact that he could have gone Codex. I could have gone the exact line they did, Codex levels, and then get the top card to play it out. And other than that, I think I played really well in some places. Like, my equipment usage was very tight, except for the Skullbone not blocking, but my equipment usage was really tight. And I think that's what made me win that game, was the way that I used my snaps and my bracers. Separating them onto 2 different turns was really heads up. And that just managed to give me like pressure on both those turns instead of just one really good turn, like Rain Razors. And other than that, I'm happy with how I sideboarded. I would probably sideboard the same way again. But that'll be it for now. Thanks. Bye.